So when I look at this, I first want to ask myself, what's a proof? And you guys did it with two triangles that were separated. But the idea is I am telling you my thought process on how to get that side, angle, side, 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 angle, side, angle, 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 side, or HL. So I'm going to look. Number one, I kind of do this in whatever way I think about it. The first thing I do is do the given information. Now, when I do this, given is a choice, and I'm going to put it beside any time I see anything in there. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to check them off. I have B is equal to E, and that's a given. So I'm going to check that off because I know I took care of it. The next one is AB is congruent to DE. That's also given. Which one am I missing? The one on the top that says C is the midpoint of BE. Now, even though these are glued together at a point, those are not vertical angles, but I just learned that C is in the middle. So what that tells me is that BC is the same thing as CE. Now, I just told you what that tells me. The definition of midpoint tells me that BC is congruent to CE. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark my picture and figure out which one it is. So, a couple of things. I need to think about all my implied information. In this case, it was a word. They told me the word midpoint, and anytime you get a word, you have to define it. So that's why I defined it with math. In the reasons, I have to know why we marked. Shared side is reflexive property. If there were vertical angles, I would put that. I could put the alternate interior angles down. And so now the very last row of the column will be what comes after the prove. For today, next class it's going to change, but for today, that's this triangle equals triangle. And the only thing you can put there is one of the big five. So if I look, that's where I'm going to stop. And I do not write the word prove. No matter what, if I put P-R-O-V-E here, it's going to be wrong. I have to put side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, or HL. So I need to mark my picture because I do everything with pictures. I already have that midpoint thing marked. Let's do the B is congruent to E. B is congruent to E. And AB is congruent to DE. So my picture's marked. Are the two triangles marked the same? Yeah. So can I get rid of one of them? And go ahead and mark it, get rid of one. So what am I going to put here? An X. Here? 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 And what do I get? S-A-S. I will never get none. If it is a prove, I will never ever get none. So just remember that. I normally fill in certain things in order. I always do my given information first. I always try, once I get my given information, I look for reflexive property because that's an easy one to spot. In the column over here, if I had like BC equals BC, reflexive property. So I look for things like that. Once I have this piece of given information with a word in it, the only difference is, what does this mean? Perpendicular. So if I see this symbol, I'm going to have to define it because it's a word, but we just use a symbol for it. So I will see definition of perpendicular, definition of midpoint. I will see alternate interior angles are congruent, consecutive interior angles are congruent, possibly. Corresponding angles are congruent, but I have to define what I mark on my picture. So just keep that in mind.